when two amazing women walked into our lives and turned our entire world upside down. Everything suddenly changed for your dad and I. These two women were your birth mom and sister. You see, Riker, your birth mother was facing a defining moment in her life. She had to make the most difficult decision a mother could ever make. Your mother had to make the decision to put the best interest of you and your sister first, before herself, and even before her own breaking heart. And she was doing it in front of a world that can never truly understand the depth of her sacrifice. She chose not only to give you life, but to give you the life that she could not. We found out on Mother's Day that your birth mother had chosen your dad and I to be your parents, and this was the day I saw your little face for the first time. I was in love from the moment I saw your first sonogram picture, in love in a way that cannot be put into words. And then it happened. Time stood still again. At 9:30 a.m. on June 28, 2013, I watched you come into this world, and in that moment I was suspended in the air of your first breath, high above the world, so high I could taste the sweet dew on the clouds, and so high I felt my fingertips brush the hand of God. And with that touch I felt almost invincible. Then, when I picked you up for the first time, still terrified at the idea of sharing you with your birth mother, because she gave you the one thing that I could not, she gave you life. It was in that moment, you there in my arms, the world rushing past us, my selfish fear disappeared. How could I not love the person who gave me everything and expected nothing in return, the person who fought for both your life and your future? It was then I realized that our family was not just growing by one that day, but by three. You are the glue that holds this unlikely family together, and you will walk through the rest of your life with two mothers behind you, one who gave you life, and the other one to teach you how to live it. Just like the day I married your dad, it was pouring rain the day I took you home from the hospital. After I finally got you home, I realized I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Within hours, you had pooped all over everything and rejected all of the expensive baby accoutrements your dad and I had bought for you. Your grandma and I took turns rocking you all night long. The second night, we found a sleeping arrangement that was more acceptable to you. We had so much fun in those first few days and will cherish every sleepless moment for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, the happiness was short-lived. You see, Riker, an epic battle was brewing, a battle for your future. And unlike the battles most superheroes face, there was no evil supervillain, no nefarious plot for world domination. There was just four people who loved you and wanted what was best for you, but just couldn't agree on what that was. 15 days after you were born, we found out your adoption was being challenged by your birth father. Although under new adoption laws we had done everything right, followed every rule, and had every legal right to continue with your adoption, the new laws had never been tested. We were told to walk away from you, to find a different child to adopt. We were told fighting for you could cost us everything. Your dad and I were devastated. You had only been our son for 15 days, but we couldn't remember our lives without you. In just 15 days, you had somehow taken my heart that had been broken into a million pieces by failed adoptions and miscarriages, and single-handedly put them back together, and the parts that had been irreparably damaged you replaced with pieces of your own. There was no way we could walk away from you. The promise we gave you the day you were born was more than just a name. It was a promise to protect you, to fight your battles until we could teach you to fight them on your own. It was a promise to be your parents, one we take very seriously. On September 12, 2013, we went to court to let a judge decide who would be your parents. We have never been so scared in our lives. The thought of losing you was unbearable, and the hearing went on forever. Then finally, after every lawyer had said their piece, it was time for the judge to make her decision. At 8:48 a.m., time stood still again, only this time it was different. Time was not standing still just for me, but for a room full of people. It stood still for your birth parents, for your dad and I, for your grandparents, for your aunts and uncle, and for our lawyer who spent her life fighting for the rights of women and children. And it stood still for you, for it was your life that teetered in the balance of the scales of justice that day. I held your dad's hand as he held you, a family of three connected not by blood but by love. The judge started to speak, and in that single moment I died 1,000 times, for this moment was different than the others. When I married your dad, I was the one making the decision to say I do. And the day you were born, if something went wrong, I knew I could save you, because that's what I did for a living. But this time I was powerless. The judge held all the air in my lungs, my heart, and my hopes and dreams for your future in her hands, and there was nothing I could do. As she read her verdict, the world went silent. I knew her lips were moving, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. I just looked at your little face, knowing it might be the last time I ever got to watch you sleep. Then your dad jumped up and hugged me, whispering in my ear that we had won. And although, in that moment, it felt like I had just won the longest, most important race in my life, it's important that you understand nobody really won that day. Everybody in that courtroom loved you and wanted what was best for you, and when you fight for what you think is right, you can never really lose. One of the hardest things to reconcile in my heart is the fact that my greatest gift was someone else's greatest sacrifice and greatest heartbreak. Then, 5 months later, on February 24th, 2014, you officially became our son and celebrated your first adoption day.